mediocre rosters to the playoffs. Okay, Sam, you got to get out of here, bro.
Dude, what a clip that was. You manhandled that poor cat, bro. And welcome back, everybody, to episode numero trace of the On Second Thought podcast. I'm Deano. He's Jake Krelovich. Jake, how are we doing on this fine day?
Doing good today. Doing good. I'm a little tired today. Got a lot of powder outside.
Yeah, a lot of pout. I mean, listen, I am tired today as evidence of, pre-recording, enough caffeine to get me through. Oh, we'll just put it like that. Um, what can I say, man? Those gas stations, they give like the promotional deals and I'm like a moth to a flame. I cannot just be like, you know what? I only need one. No, if you're offering me a good deal, it's over.
What kind do you get? Do you get like the Celsius, the
I opted for Monster today because that was the one on sale.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Pretty much like my usual thing is I need to maximize caffeine content per dollar. So however I can do that, that's what I go for. I will say
Respectable.
though, those Celsius things, man, like they hit you sneaky. I remember I had one before a volleyball broadcast one night, dude, and just it woke me up.
Dude, I had one the other day. It was like a blue raspberry one. It was like too sweet. It was too much.
Yeah, and like there's zero sugar, so how you getting that sweet?
I don't know. I have no clue.
It's insane. But anyhow, it's gonna be a few of these topics here today. First one, Jason Kelce been reported that he is retiring. Um, and I really just think this is a loss on the stat sheet for all plus sized men everywhere.
Amen.
Finalist for sexiest man alive. Um, remember seeing a thing about how his Kelly Green jersey was the number one female jersey selling on
Number one female jersey? That's awesome.
yeah, and they had his wife on the podcast, and she said, I'm almost 6 foot tall. I'll defend what's mine." She wanted the smoke.
That's insanity.
But I mean, if Eagles getting bounced in the wild card round, still probably be picking what in the 16th region, 17th, somewhere in there, I assume.
Uh, I would say low 20s.
They just gotta hope that Oregon center, what's his name, Powers Jackson,
Oh yeah.
because I was on 91.3 KMSA last night. They called me in from CSU Pueblo's Sorry Arena. I was catching some RMAC hoops. And they're like, "Well, should the Eagles focus on a quarterback?" I'm like, "No. The first thing they need to focus on is rebuilding that O line because if Kelsey's leaving, I guarantee Lane Johnson ain't going to stick around much longer either." Um, and that Eagles offensive line is the main reason, I picked them to win Monday night. And, they couldn't pull it out. It was a tough game for everyone involved. But I
Are
think if
are
you're going to be a contender in the NFL, you got to have a solid offensive line.
are people actually saying the Eagles should go for a quarterback?
That's what Matt Majeski was saying.
Dude.
Uh, he said it might be time to move on from Jalen Hurts.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's
I
hot.
mean, you make the playoffs. You were Super Bowl runner-ups last year, did better than the Broncos the year after they won the whole thing. Um, so I just don't see if I see the reasoning in taking a new quarterback.
No, I don't. If anything, I think Nick Sirianni's the problem in
Even then, I don't
Philadelphia.
think you got to fire him. 'Cause it seems like the locker room likes him and the locker room rallies around him. I think you might have to start looking at, maybe the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator areas, and make a switch there. Going to be a lot of movement in the NFL this offseason. We got the topic for the coaching carousel coming in later in this show. So there's going to be a lot of people moving around, a lot of options potentially. And just trying to see, like I said, I mean, I love Eric Bieniemy. I think he absolutely deserves a head coaching job, but it's almost like he doesn't want to be a head coach.
Hmm.
I mean, I can understand if you're an OC in the league, you're making plenty of money. Or is he a DC? I can't remember, but
He's
he's
OC.
yeah. So I mean, he's probably doing just fine for himself and his family financially. But if he ever wanted to be a head coach, I think he could easily grab the job. I just think he likes kind of the low pressure. I mean, not even low pressure, but lesser pressure environment of being a coordinator than being the head coach.
Right. I agree.
Because I mean, even with looking at the high school level, I mean, head coaches they're teaching all day, then they try to go to practice in the evening, and they're there till 10 o'clock at night, watching film, scouting, especially the 5A, 4A level. So I can just see him kind of not wanting to have that much time dedicated to a head coaching job.
Yeah.
But I think pretty he could probably get any job in the NFL he wanted.
Yeah, I think Washington's a good fit. I mean, he's already there. It
Yeah, Washington
seems
would be a
like
great fit.
yeah, I mean, it seems like the guys like him. There's some reports that came out that he's not necessarily a player's coach. He's like really hard to work with, and I think he's just like a old school coach where like he will rip into you if you need to be ripped into.
Well, but even then, I think sometimes I think that's sometimes what a player needs when you're talking about
Yeah.
being an athlete. Because Bill Belichick, he's definitely an old school coach. I mean, he coached at Navy of all places.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he's going to get any head coaching job that's open that he wants. Um, so I think sometimes that old school though, rip into a hard coach is what some struggling teams need. If you're too much of a
Mm-hmm.
player's coach, you're not reprimanding them for making mental errors.
Yep.
I mean, how are you going to expect your players to respect you and then perform for you if you're just like, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it? Like, come on now.
You'll get him. You'll get him next time.
Yeah, we don't need a pee-wee coach. If you're a coach in the National Football League, we need you to be winning football games, not being. I mean, never mind. It's important for the locker room to like you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's more important is that you're winning games and you're just being a good coach.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, so yeah, we'll preview into that coaching carousel, but still, Jason Kelce, man, probably the greatest center to ever do it.
Yeah. If this is the end, hey, he went on New Heights and was like, I haven't came to a decision yet. Although it's probably gonna be he's gonna retire, but he's
Yeah, I
like,
just think
I
he I don't know. He didn't like the fact that it was leaked before he could, make the announcement himself.
right. He was like, I think it's too emotional of a decision to make it after a game like that, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's been things that he thought, last year was going to be his final year in the league. On that
Hmm.
Amazon Prime documentary, Kelce, he was like, this next year was going to be his last year. That's why they had cameras following him. They're like, you know what? One more ride. And I think if he wanted to, he definitely could.
Hmm.
But also, offensive line, it's like there's a car crash every play.
Hmm.
So it's tough to handle, man.
Yeah,
And especially now he's
absolutely.
got two young daughters that I'm sure he wants to spend time with, which makes sense. It's very family oriented. I mean, Donna Kelce probably taking the world by storm.
Goodness gracious.
Love Donna Kelce. She's
Yeah.
my goat. Like it's just there's so many factors going into it, and after a really tough loss in a wild card round to a team that you might have been the underdog on paper, but everybody was picking you to win, and then
Hmm.
just to lose in that fashion, absolutely wild. And you can't expect somebody to make that big of a decision after something like that.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah,
be
but
honest
anyhow,
though. I'm just gonna bring this up real quick. Let's be honest. The Eagles finished 1-5 in the regular season in their last 6 games. A lot of people were expecting this loss. I wasn't expecting this loss to be by that big of an amount, but I was expecting a loss.
yeah, like I said, I think the only reason we saw a great game for Baker Mayfield is because he was dipping on the sidelines.
Very well could be.
Good old country boy, went to Oklahoma. Totally, had
Yep.
some grizzly long cut in that lower, probably packing half a horseshoe.
Half a horseshoe.
You can tell I've been back with my, blue collar buddies too long. You can just kind of sense
Oh
it.
my gosh.
Yeah. So, Baker Mayfield, he's been playing great too. And I saw this one TikTok this morning. I don't remember the guy's name, but, he was the quarterback coach in Seattle last year for Geno Smith. Then he was the quarterback coach this year for Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're saying he's a quarterback reviver, and Baker Mayfield last year he had like a 29% pressure to sack rate. This year he's dropped it down to about 17.
Wow. That's a big margin.
Well, it's kind of there's a lot of stuff like my grandpa would call it cutesy stuff that
Mm-hmm.
you can get away with in college.
Yeah.
that you can't quite get away with in the pros because everything just happens so much faster.
Hmm.
Now, do I still believe there have been years that the best college football team could probably take down the best NFL team? Sure. Do I think this year was one of them? No. But, you're looking at some of the juggernaut teams like 2019 LSU. They totally could have taken, 4 or 5 games in a 10-game series against an NFL team.
Like
I
a
really believe that
like a
because they were
low,
just
I would say a low record NFL team.
oh yeah, not a Super Bowl contender, but I'm talking like, first overall pick. Like the
Hmm.
2023 Panthers, I'm confident would lose to the 2019 LSU Tigers.
Yeah, very well could.
The way they're just flying around, the way Joe Burrow was processing everything. Was it Edwards-Helaire they had in the backfield that year?
Oh God, I don't remember. Sounds right.
He might have been a Clemson guy. No, that was ETN. I don't remember what team he was on, but their running back was playing out of his mind. Their offensive line was good in 2019 when
Hmm.
they absolutely, patty schmacked Oklahoma in the CFP semifinal. I mean, looking at them play, that was a solid year of ball for them.
Dude, yeah, that LSU team is one of the top teams ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's probably the best team we've seen in our lifetimes, and it's not even close.
Hmm. Agreed.
But yeah, getting off topic. Next thing we have too is kind of Super Wildcard Weekend recap. Kind of touched on it some. I think you and I both went 4-2 on the weekend.
Went 4-2. Respectable. That's respectable.
Respectable. That being said, I remember how hard you clowned on me for picking the Packers to win in Dallas, in Jerry World.
Yeah, that's
And the
crazy.
Packers went in there and just whooped them.
Yeah.
I mean, the final score was what, 48-32, but it was 48-20 or something like that, going into the last 10 minutes of the
It was
fourth.
like, yeah, like 42-17, something crazy like that.
Packers pulled their starters. Like, you see that thing where
Does
Kyle
this
Shannon in the press conference, he said that he stopped worrying about Dallas halfway through the third quarter and just started scouting Green Bay
Yep.
because Green Bay was just being dominant in every phase of the game.
So let me ask you this. Does this more say something about the Packers and how far they can go? Or does this say more about how much of a fraud the Cowboys are?
That's the thing. I don't know. I think Jordan Love's been looking spectacular in the back half of this season. I mean, he's been absolutely wheeling and dealing. And I have the quarterback kiss of death, as we've seen recently, with Tua getting smacked in Arrowhead, Joe
Hmm.
Flacco getting smacked in Houston. So maybe I've just ruined his season. But he's still just been playing great football. Um,
No, he
and
has.
the way Matt LaFleur has developed him, I mean, they have the youngest team to ever not only make the playoffs, but now to win a playoff game.
Hmm. And the first 7 seed.
And that's what's really wild too is I want to say the 7 seeds now 1-7 uh,
Hmm.
in the first round. It makes sense because there's just such a skill gap in my eyes between a 6 seed and a 7 seed.
For sure.
When you're talking a 6 seed, you're talking, second best team in your division. But when you're looking
Hmm.
at a 7 seed, you'd be talking third in the division or
Hmm.
second in a weaker division. I mean, I'm trying to think of all the 7 seed teams, and a lot of them have just been the Steelers.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
and you know how hard it is to win in the AFC North.
oh, it's horrible. When Burrow's healthy,
Hmm.
then you got Lamar dealing. I
Yeah.
mean, Browns at the end of this year were looking good. I mean, AFC North is a competitive division. And, Mike Tomlin, the fact he's still never had a losing record as a head coach shocks me.
Hmm.
I mean, he's never been going out there and shocking people, but like he's always been a solid head coach.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, just playing really great ball, top to bottom in the AFC North, and Lamar, MVP favorite as it sits right now. Just like I said, solid division.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, Packers winning as a 7 seed, just absolutely insane, especially because they did it in Dallas. Like if it was being played in Green Bay,
I probably would have said Green Bay. I just think, like you said, The Green Bay's just cowboy killers in the playoffs, man.
Yeah, by the way, that's have you ever heard that song, Cowboy Killer?
Uh-uh.
I don't remember who sings it, but I think it might be the Mexican OT, but like it's a fire song.
Fire. I'll have to listen to it after this.
Yeah, you gotta put it up on the Spotify playlist, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or
Amen.
aren't you a YouTube music guy?
YouTube music, yep.
Poverty franchise.
It's literally the same exact thing. Come on now.
Nah, poverty franchise. YouTube music's off brand.
Come on. Come on.
Yeah. Speaking of some other wild card games too that really caught my eye. Really none of them. I mean, all of them were kind of, business as usual. The fact that Patrick Mahomes is playing his first ever true away game in the playoffs
Mm-hmm.
is wild. And a lot of people say, oh, that speaks to how good Mahomes is. I don't know if it does or if it just kind of speaks to how bad the rest of the AFC has been while he's been in the league.
Mm,
I mean, Burrow, if he could stay healthy, I mean, I think give it a few more years, we might see Mahomes, Allen, Burrow kind of turn into Brady, Manning, Roethlisberger if we're lucky.
mm-hmm.
I don't know if we're going to see domination like we saw to Tom Brady. I mean, Patriots had 30 playoff wins since the year 2000, and all those came with Tom Brady, at least on the sidelines. Um, Second most, I want to say, was the Ravens with 16. So they're just dealing with Thomas Brady. Um, so yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, Patrick Mahomes having to play his first ever true away game in the playoffs is just wild to me, man.
Yeah. I think that more shows how bad the AFC West has been. It's just not competitive whatsoever, and I'm surely hoping, being a Broncos fan, that that changes next year. It got a little more competitive this year just because the Chiefs kind of had an off year, fall off. Um, they would still win the AFC West, but it was still more competitive than we've seen in the past 8 years. 8 years since the Broncos won. So I mean, it's just like with next year having Antonio Pierce with the Raiders, having possibly a Jim Harbaugh or a Bill Belichick with the Chargers, and then Andy Reid and Sean Payton, all proven head coaches in the league. This could be a really really tight division next year.
Yeah, but talking that too, I mean, if you're the Broncos, who's the Broncos GM? I don't even know his name.
George Payton.
All right, if you're my homeboy George, right? Are you drafting Bo Nix?
This is this is what I would do. So a Broncos page actually posted this last night. What would you do if you were George Payton? And a lot of people came to a consensus that if we could keep Russ on a reconstructed contract, even making, even cutting his salary 10 million would help, you know? Keeping him on a reconstructed contract, possibly drafting Bo Nix. You can do both. And then having Bo Nix sit behind Russ for a year or something, see how it goes with Russ. It would be like a Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love situation or a Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers situation where you wait a couple years, get the most out of you can with Russ, and then move on to Bo Nix. And it's worked several times for the Packers, so why wouldn't it this time? Especially with Sean Payton, a proven head coach, he can develop guys, especially on the offensive side. So this is
Oh
definitely
yeah.
something that could happen.
Well, especially too, I mean, when he's talking about Sean Payton being an offensive mastermind, the first name that comes to my mind is Taysom Hill.
Hmm.
I mean, that guy is just a Swiss Army knife. I mean, I took him in fantasy in the late rounds. You called me crazy. The one game I started him, he got like 20 some points.
It's crazy.
Dude's a hell of a player.
Where does
But
he
I think
where
the
does he
Bron
fall in for his position? Is it quarterback? Is that what they
he's
have
listed
on
as a tight
fantasy?
end and a quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah, they
So you
list
can
him
put him
for
in that
both.
flex spot.
I just put him in tight end.
Okay.
I had another flight, dude. It was mastermind by the champion. Um, but yeah, I mean, the problem with the Broncos is they've just done it so much recently where they get an older guy towards the end of his career. I mean, Flacco played in Denver for a while. You
Hmm.
had Teddy Two Gloves. They just keep running into this problem where they, trade or sign in free agency a veteran quarterback, draft a young guy. He doesn't get time to develop because the old guy doesn't work out. They thrust him out there. He sucks. They have to trade him away, and they keep rinsing and repeating in this cycle. And I think the Broncos need to settle down. Remember, I'm never one who thinks you should, go all out for a rebuild year, right? I think your first goal should always be win the darn game.
Hmm.
But I think you
And
might have
that's
to accept the fact that, there might be a year or two where you're only going to be winning 5 or 6, but just give it 2 years.
hmm
Because the
yeah.
problem with sports fans, we're impatient,
Yeah.
right? We want to see our team win the championship every single year.
And you know what? If you think we're impatient, think how Sean Payton is. The worst season he's had is 7-9. That guy, he does not care for a rebuild. He just wants to win and he wants to win now, regardless of the situation. So
But
I
here's the
think
thing,
he's
though,
going to
as
be.
as a fan, do you want to have just several years of mediocrity, or 1 year of sucking, maybe 2 years of sucking, and then be able to try to slowly build up a dynasty?
That's the thing, though. It's been 8 years of sucking. It's just like it should have come by now, you
That's the
know?
thing, though. It's like you guys are just constantly you're on like, okay, let's just win. But then you can't make the postseason,
Yeah,
and you
I know.
just keep being mediocre.
I know. And that's
Like,
why
when was
that's
the
why I'm
Broncos'
saying
last winning season?
the year after the Super Bowl went 9-7. So 7 years ago.
So you haven't made the playoffs in 8, haven't had a winning season in 7. But it's like you guys are like, okay, let's just trade for a veteran guy. And you keep doing that, and it keeps
And that's
failing, and you keep being surprised.
and that's why I'm saying I think we should just keep Russ right now and use the pick. Use the pick either if Knicks is there, maybe in the second round. I don't know if Knicks will fall that low. I think there's too many holes in the roster to trade all of your picks right now for a top quarterback in this draft. There's too many holes in this roster. Caleb Williams isn't gonna um take this team to the playoffs. There's too much that's going on that needs to be fixed. And I think that Russ can win. I mean, we saw it this year, won 5 straight, 6 straight, or whatever,
Went from
and
1-5 to 6-6,
or 6-5.
6-5.
One,
That's right. So a
yeah.
little sneaky little 5-game win streak. You just couldn't build on it.
Hmm. Right.
Um.
Yeah.
So I mean, that being said, though, should the Broncos maybe trade down, get some more capital? Because here's the thing: this is a stacked quarterback class. Like, all 5 QBs we ranked are going first round. It's not going to be like the year where they took Kenny Pickett with the 20 something for the Steelers. And then,
Yeah.
like, this is a stacked QB class, and I could see 5 or 6 quarterbacks going in the first round.
Hmm.
So, I mean, in our rankings, Matt Majeski, my homeboy from CMU, he said that we snubbed JJ McCarthy. And
Really?
it wasn't a snub. This is just a stacked class.
Exactly. That's my thing.
Um,
And that's what some people said. Maybe you keep Russ on reconstructed contract, take JJ McCarthy in the second round, have him sit for a couple years, have Sean Payton develop his guy. Something we could see.
I mean, Talia Tagovailoa, he's declared for the draft. To his younger brother out of Maryland, NCAA denied his extra year of eligibility. So he said, you know what, screw it, time to go play pro ball.
Hmm.
And he was okay. I mean, the thing at Maryland, he never had a great season, but what I really liked out of him is every single year he played, we saw improvement.
Hmm.
Um, so sure, he might not be the best for you in year 1 or 2, but give him till year 3 or 4. If he just keeps this upward slope of improvement, um, also, this is going to be completely biased. Maybe someone should pick up Mariota,
Hmm.
toss him in a
Are you saying
starting
the
role.
Broncos should pick up Mariota?
No, because I'm tired of them taking veteran quarterbacks. Like, I don't think the Broncos should, but like maybe the Commanders. Is Sam Howell really their guy?
I don't think so.
Maybe the Giants. I mean, Danny Dimes ain't gonna do it for you, so maybe Marcus Mariota would. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to
Hmm.
you. Earlier today, I was looking online to see if there already Marcus Mariota, the Kelly Greens available because I love those jerseys. They still got some up on NFL Shop that I may
Mm,
or may not be copying in the near future.
you got to do it.
I
And
will rep a
then,
backup quarterback because he is my goat.
yep, yep.
Um,
I'll wear a Drew Lock jersey any day.
Exactly. I've seen you wear. I remember the first fantasy football game. You had to give some. Was it Aiden you gave your Drew Lock jersey to wear for the game?
Yeah, yeah. Or no, Caleb. Caleb.
It was right. It was Aqib Khalib.
Yep.
I only called him Max. He played corner.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
What a
we need
guy.
to get some of the fantasy boys on the pod.
And we do.
Yeah, I mean,
We
hey,
do.
QB1, he wants to make an appearance, so
Yeah, let's
he
do
may
it.
be doing that. All right, but anyhow, on to our next topic, which I think might be a little bit of a hot button topic. Which NFL teams do you think should relocate?
I don't think any should relocate.
See, I have a pick, and I think it's going to make a lot of sense. So what you're looking for in relocation, right, is lack of community, support, and then usually inability to strike a new stadium deal.
Okay.
Um, I'm thinking send the Commanders elsewhere.
Really?
Um, yeah, I mean, that DC, Maryland, Virginia area isn't really pulling for them anymore. They've been consistently, not good. Um,
FedEx Field sucks.
FedEx Field is horrible, and I haven't seen anything about them getting a new stadium deal.
Mm-mm. Well, they just got their new owners. Magic Johnson's part of that.
Exactly, but I'm thinking maybe move a team to the Midwest or, kind of a little further west. When you think about it, there's like a big NFL gap, Idaho, Montana, North, South Dakota, Nebraska, Oklahoma. Um,
What?
I'd
Okay,
say
let's be
Wyoming,
honest
but
though.
no one lives in Wyoming.
What NFL players are going to want to live in Nebraska? Let's be real.
Decent farm economy. Lincoln's got an okay nightlife. I mean, maybe get Peyton to sponsor the move to Omaha.
The Omaha Commanders. Wow.
Or I mean, well, did y'all see the thing where there's this petition that a bunch of Native Americans have put out to change the name back to the Redskins?
I did. Yes.
Um, so I think if you're gonna do that, move it to kind of those native heavy areas. And like I said, Oklahoma. You're telling me OKC couldn't support an NFL team?
The Oklahoma City Commander or Redskins.
OKC skins, baby.
Yeah.
Tell me that wouldn't look good on a t-shirt?
Might. All
It
right.
might. Speaking of t-shirts, Jake, what kind of tarp we got on you today?
All right. Hold on. Let me put the mic down real quick.
Whew.
All right. If the viewers don't know, that's my little small business there, Krelovich. Like and follow on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, where I do all my sports video stuff.
Dude can make a video. I remember one time he made this absolute heat. Used the voice of some very attractive guy calling a volleyball game. Um, I mean, he's a real good looking guy too. Uh,
Might, may or may
calling some
not be
volleyball.
may or may not be sitting in front of a blue wall with a whiteboard in the background.
I don't know what he's up to. I really couldn't tell you. Um, but I mean, the guy knows ball. At least in the listen, that fellow one time in a 2 day span called 9 volleyball matches.
Insanity.
If you're
Animal.
not going to learn something during that, get a new job.
Hmm.
I remember yesterday, or no, Monday, I was at Shields, uh, up in Springs. You ever been to a Shields?
To where?
Shields? It's like my friends call it
Mm,
redneck Elitches.
mm-mm.
Um, dude, it's like this multi-level sports store. They have like a wax talking figure of John Elway.
It's pretty cool.
They got a Ferris wheel in there, an aquarium.
Dude, what? Where is this
They have an
at?
arcade, bowling lanes.
Dude, where's
Really
it at?
solid. It's in North Colorado Springs.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
We're gonna
so
have to make a trip.
the big name Springs. You're from the little name Springs.
Little Springs. Yep, I'm from Little
Little
Springs.
Springs. Now, so the Rocky Mountain Vibes, right? It's the minor league team in Springs, and dude, they have some of the cleanest alternate jerseys. Oh my lord, dude! I'm
Dude, they
like,
have the best logo
dude,
in
that you've
baseball.
seen me wear the lid.
Yeah, the little s'more guy.
Yeah, the little s'more guy, and they're like alternate logos, just like a marshmallow with a stick that has like the Colorado like yellow, blue, red, white C in there, dude. Ooh, it's so
Yep, yep.
fire.
Fire.
But yeah, for real, I'm gonna have you like toss up one on screen right now because it is just so unbelievably like just sexy, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like I said, get the Commanders out of the DC area. They're not doing anything
So
there. They're not winning. Send them to
I'll
OKC.
say this. I'll say this. It will never happen just because they've already relocated and they just got a new stadium. But do Chargers fans ever pull up to home games?
No, they should have stayed in
No.
San Diego.
Yeah, absolutely they should have. And I don't understand how they even get any revenue because it's just like no one shows up. Every single
I mean,
time I am
the away
watching a
team fans
game,
show up,
yeah, the away team fans show up. They travel good.
and I mean they're getting a like ownership doesn't care because they're seeing dollar signs regardless.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. The other thing
Oh
too, I
yeah,
don't
you're
know who
right.
would do this. We need to get a team back in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I mean, the what is it now? The UFL, that spring league.
Uh-huh. Yep,
They got the
UFL,
St. Louis
United.
They got the St. Louis Battlehawks, and like, dude, the St. Louis Dome, it gets pretty packed for spring league football.
Yeah, and St. Louis was a good city for football.
Yeah, the Rams should have never left.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe move the Commanders down there.
St. Louis. I don't know. I don't know if you move the Commanders. I think you got to get a new stadium. You got to get something and change
Yeah,
the
so
name
like I
back.
said, they're not putting butts in seats. They're not winning, and their stadiums. I mean, you saw when Jalen Hurts almost got hurt last year because the railing collapsed,
Uh-huh.
pipes burst.
I don't understand how
It's
they haven't gotten a new stadium. Like that's insane, dude.
because the community just doesn't care about them anymore.
Yeah.
It's atrocious, dude. It's absolutely
Dan Snyder,
horrid.
man.
Yeah, to hell with him. Um, trying to think of other NFL teams. I think everybody else is pretty solid where they're at.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, because you got to think. Like, I don't think you can really support a team besides the Falcons and the Saints down south.
Hmm.
It's got to think. If you're going down south, college football is king,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
nothing the NFL does is going to change that.
Hmm.
Because I mean, like I've seen some. I will put my life on this. College football crowds are better than professional football crowds.
I agree. Even CJ Stroud said that the other day. He was on the Pat McAfee show and he was like, the craziest stadium I've ever played in the NFL was Indianapolis, and he was like, that was almost as good as a college football game.
Well, yeah, because like people care. Like for the NFL, like sure, you're proud of your state and your city or whatever. But like when
Hmm.
you're talking college football, you're like somebody spent 4 years and 200 grand to go there. They're gonna care about them afterwards.
Hmm. Right.
You got kids that are being told, "Hey, got to continue your education," and if they go see like some cathedral, like Notre Dame Stadium, or Neyland,
Hmm.
for the Vols, and you're like, "This is what college has." I probably want to show up there. And then student sections.
Oh, insanity.
Like I remember for the when Mesa was playing in the third round for women's soccer, the playoffs. Um, it was only the second packed house I've ever really been able to call. And dude, it got so loud after a bad whistle call.
Hmm.
I couldn't hear Matt through my headset. Like it was
It's insane.
insanity.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful.
Hmm. I love
Like if
crowds
I
like
if I
that.
remember correctly, you were the rod had consumed you or whatever. You were feeling sicker and hot crap.
Yeah.
And dude, you missed like the vibe in there. Like I've never experienced anything like it in person.
I love that. I love that. And I love that a D2 school can do that.
Exactly. Well, in like a D2 school too. Like I said, I have called. I've missed exactly two soccer games since I've gone to Mesa,
Hmm.
and that's because I was calling volleyball. Um, and it was just uh, the way that they packed that stadium. It was standing room only. Like you had
Really?
people standing in front of the stands, like right next to the turf, getting nailed with soccer balls kicked out of bounds. There was nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
and they wanted to be there. And it created some of the best home field advantage I think Mesa's seen.
Yeah, petition and make some more stands there at Community
No,
Hospital
because
Field.
the regular season, man, the only students that are there, if it's the men's game, the women's team's there. If it's the women's game, the men's team's there. Those are the only students that show up.
Yeah,
And then me,
yeah.
because I'm in the cozy. I'm not even gonna call it. Have you ever seen those pre-built sheds at Sam's Club? That's what that soccer press box is
Yeah.
like.
Yep.
It is. It's cold up there. I would argue it's colder in there than it would be on field level.
Yeah, well, on field at least you're like moving around and everything.
Well,
Your
none of that. You're
body's
so
warming
high
up.
up, so the wind's hitting you,
Oh, yep.
and then you got to keep those windows open because you can't see if you have them closed. So you get the cross breeze, and it just kind of becomes a wind tunnel in there.
Hmm.
Um, I don't remember what we were talking about now. I got like so passionate talking about soccer.
Yeah, I think we're talking about college
We were talking about
football.
relocate college football. So yeah, like I said though, Commanders are the only team I can think of that I really think need to go elsewhere because everywhere else they have either a new stadium or great community support.
Yeah. Besides the
Um,
Chargers.
well, the Chargers have a new stadium,
They have a new stadium, but
no community support, zero.
yeah.
Well, I mean, the city of San Diego feels betrayed, and I can't blame them.
Hey, what about something like the Panthers? The tickets there right now, I saw what, $11 or something? Remember when I sent you that?
Yeah, well, because I remember, because we were seeing them for like a quarter,
Yeah,
like for the
something crazy
nosebleeds.
like that. Yeah.
And I told you, I was like, listen, man, we should take a road trip. You didn't
Yeah,
want to
dude.
make the trip to where even is that stadium? Is it North or South? I think it's North Carolina.
I don't even know. I don't even care enough to
But even
think about
then,
that.
like the only reason they were so cheap is because of how bad the Panthers were this year.
Yeah.
Like the Commanders, I'm confident they could have like a 9-8 season and still not be putting butts in seats. The Panthers do that, they'll have packed houses.
Yeah.
I mean, even the
I mean,
Broncos, man, like they've been pitiful the last couple of years, but like Mile High sells out.
we've sold out. I think we have the record for most sold out games in consecutively, like at 700 or something like that.
Yeah, because well, and also when you think about it, it's because there's no team in Wyoming or North or South Dakota or Idaho.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, so like I said, every other team's fine. Get the Commanders elsewhere. Alrighty. Next topic. Rest of the NFL playoffs getting ready to play out. Let's start first things first here. AFC, Ravens, Texans. Who you got, Jake?
So the Ravens beat the Texans earlier in the season, 25-9. What did we say last week? It's hard to beat a team twice. However, however, the Ravens are the overwhelming favorite, and I think the Ravens are going to win this game. Um, I love the Texans. Texans have had a great season. I think it's awesome that they had their playoff win. First team or first year head coach, first year quarterback. They're going to be a team to beat, but the Ravens got this game.
Yeah, I'm going with you. I'm going Ravens. I'm going to go Ravens by 8.
Ravens by 8. I'll go
All right,
Ravens
next.
by 8. Sure.
Yeah, solid prediction.
Solid
Next
prediction.
AFC matchup got Chiefs Bills. I mean, Mahomes 2-0 against Josh Allen in the postseason. Do you think that trend continues in Buffalo?
I think that Buffalo is going to come out with this game. Um, Buffalo, they've already beaten the Chiefs this year once. Close game on that Kadarius Toney call, but um, I could see with Mahomes his first ever away playoff game. I think this could be something where we see a Chiefs loss, and I think Josh Allen might have a 3 touchdown, 2 interception game. I think the running game might be the biggest thing to try and take down this Chiefs defense, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, an interesting thing I saw too about this being Patrick Mahomes' first ever away game is the only reason this game is being played in Buffalo is because of that Kadarius Toney offside call.
Hmm.
Um, so that being said, though, I will say my opinion on Mahomes has improved into the postseason. Do I think he's the greatest quarterback on the field this year? Absolutely not.
Hmm.
That being said, though, I'd put him back in my top five after last weekend because he played great in those conditions. Um, but that being said, I don't see him taking this one over the Bills. Bills Mafia, probably the best crowd in the NFL. I
Hmm.
mean, they were shoveling snow shirtless.
Yep.
Like Bills Mafia does not care at all about their own safety or well-being.
No, dude.
Um,
Talk about a fan base that's never leaving, dude.
exactly. I mean, they're getting that new stadium, still open air. I think every stadium should have a dome.
Yeah,
Um,
especially if you're in like a New York, yeah, East Coast, pouring snow.
yeah, well, my dad's theory was they're getting paid so much they should shut up about it. And I was like, Dad, do you really want to go do your job in this weather? He's like, well, when I was in the army, I'm like, okay, Dad, in the army, you're kind of saving lives. In the NFL, you're playing a game.
Yep.
And then also, you get into other more complex arguments about value created and stuff like that. At least can't put dollar signs on value, of a person's life and worth and whatnot. But like when you're looking at revenue created, I guess. Um,
Right.
but regardless, dome, no dome, going home, uh, to the dome. You know what I'm saying? Like, doesn't matter. Bills by 10.
Amen. Amen. I'll say Bills by 3.
All right, NFC side of things, Niners, Pack. I don't think the Niners defense can stop Christian McCaffrey.
You mean
Packers defense. I'm sorry, dude. I did not sleep last night. Well, I slept, but
no,
not
you're
well.
good.
Anyhow,
I agree. I agree. I think uh 49ers are gonna come out with this game. Um it was a cool run for Jordan Love and the Packers here, but I think this is where it ends.
yeah, Packers can't do anything against C-Mac, against Debo, against Glock Dirty.
Yep. Amen.
Um, so yeah, go ahead. Give me the Niners by 14.
Yeah, I'll say Niners by 10.
Yeah, good call. Good call. Give it to you. All right, last one. Lions, Buccaneers. Now, interesting thing I saw about Jared Goff, he's the first ever quarterback to snap 10 plus year postseason droughts for two teams.
Yep. Hey,
What a
and
LeBron stat.
hey, and you know what? Baker's got a similar stat like that. Baker's got more playoff wins than the Cleveland Browns now.
Yeah, which is wild.
And the Browns did have was with Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield or Baker may tear apart your
Oh,
poverty defense. Oh my God.
well, right in between the pod, we got Sam here. We're
Can,
having
can we
a
see if the fella knows
sure,
ball? Can you get us a
sure.
quick analysis?
Say hello, Sam. We're having a issue at our house here where our girl cat's beating the crap out of him. So he's just been staying in my room the past month. So
Listen,
that's what's
buddy,
going on.
get her some flowers and chocolate. You'll be all right.
Dude, I'm trying. My mom took her to the vet yesterday. They're like, "Oh, she's perfectly healthy. She just has anxiety." So we'll see what
Then why is she
happens.
beating the piss out my homie Sam?
I know, dude. Come on now. All
Now
right.
his Sam Met goggles.
Sam has met goggles. A little rocky at first,
They don't
and
know, like what's the
got
locker room right? What's the locker room like with those two?
locker rooms like all right, like they're more so just co-workers and friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel
Oh,
that.
good boy, Sam.
Dude,
Sam
Sam,
making
that
it.
seems like a fella who like casually knows ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, like
He'll like crack a few brews with his homies and watch the game Saturday.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Sam though, thanks for making the appearance on the pod. Everybody, clap it up for the guest Sam.
Oh,
What a great guest appearance. But back to that, I mean, Lions, I don't see them losing. I
no.
really cannot see a reality where they lose this game, and maybe they do. Um, but yeah, give me the Lions by. I think it's gonna be close. Give me the Lions
I
by
think it's going to
4.
be a lot closer than people think. I think it's going to be a 1 point game. I'm going to go the same scores last week with the Rams. I'm going to say 24-23 Lions.
But yeah, dude, playing in Detroit has just be massive
Hmm.
for the Lions. So yeah, taking them. So that puts us at what I think we were in pretty well consensus on the pick.
Yeah.
picks this week. So that gives us Ravens, Bills in Baltimore, then Niners, Lions in San Fran.
And
So
I always say both number one seeds never make it, but we might see that.
uh, give me Ravens, Lions. I really don't think the Lions are going to lose until they hit the Super Bowl. I just think they're playing with so much pride for their city. Jared Goff is playing pissed off. Um,
Dude, Lions. I would love it.
it'd be storybook. Deano Orlovsky led that team to 0-16, had the safety where he walked out the back of the end zone. That, like, listen, much as I think that scenario is funny, ESPN brings it up at least once a month, and it gets tiring after a while.
Yeah, dude. It's just like beating the dead horse. Come on now.
Yeah, like leave it alone. It happened. It was hilarious. It's still hilarious. Talk about it once
Yeah.
a year when it happened exactly on that day.
Yeah, exactly.
But to see the Lions go to the Super Bowl, so yeah, give them Ravens and them Lions.
Ravens and the Lions.
Yeah. All right. Now, Jake, we did go a little bit over time here talking about, Kelce and relocation and getting on crazy tangents. So I'm gonna let you take your pick of these next topics. We'll cover one more, then get us out of here. Try to keep the hour going. Do we go
Yeah,
coach carousel predictions? Do we go Tomlin, McCarthy, Sirianni firing if they get fired? Armac hoops, Lakers struggles, or the NFL's potential of a Super Bowl internationally?
I think we should talk about these possible coaches being fired. I think that's a big deal right now.
I do. And here's my theory, right? Like I said earlier, every single fan wants to see their team win the championship every single year.
Hmm.
But when you're talking Sirianni, runner up in the Super Bowl last year, still made the wild card this year, I don't think you can get rid of him after that. Um,
No, it'd be really hard
Tomlin,
to.
I think it's hard to get rid of a coach after they were, one of the best 14 coaches in the league.
Hmm.
Just numbers wise. So I don't see the sense in fact, 'cause, like, sure, Belichick's out there, but I got my money that he's going to LA.
Hmm.
And out of those other fired head coaches, who's going to be better? What offensive coordinator are you going to find that's better than Tomlin, better than McCarthy, better than Sirianni?
And that's the thing. I think Mike Tomlin's taken these mediocre these okay, Sam, you gotta get out of here, bro. Stop it.
Dude, what a clip that was! You manhandled that poor cat, bro. Oh my
Dude,
lord!
he was stepping he was stepping on the keyboard, bro. He just ruined everything. Okay, but anyways, Mike Tomlin, he's had elite defenses, but his offense has been trash. Let's be honest. These rosters have not been great. I mean, you have Najee Harris, which is hit or miss. I think he is a average running back.
Yeah, and then you
And
got Kenny throws picks for your
mhm,
quarterback. You got Mason Rudolph, the red nosed QB.
yep,
Like you got Miles Garrett hitting him over the head with a helmet a couple years back. Um,
insanity.
Juju was not the same since he went Corvette, Corvette. Like he has
Juju's
not been
on
the
the
same since that.
Pats.
I know. And like, dude, once AB got CTE, it was over.
Hmm.
Like they have not had an elite team since Antonio Brown went crazy.
Hmm.
Um, so it's just I think he's doing a great job getting winning seasons produced out of these like mid QBs and mid's being a little kind.
Hmm.
Pickett was good in college, but you can't get away with the same things in the pros, man. And Kenny Pickett thinks he can and he can't.
And I didn't like Kenny Pickett out of the draft. I knew it was gonna be like this.
It was a reach.
Yeah.
Because that was probably the weakest quarterback class we've ever seen.
Yeah, dude, that class was trash.
The fact we haven't seen a QB, like the fact that you didn't see a QB picked until the low 20s,
Hmm.
wild.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, just there's so many questions and holes on that team that you can't really be putting the blame on Tomlin. You got to put the blame on the GM.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then talking McCarthy.
I
It
think
doesn't matter
McCarthy's
who.
one we could see.
But I don't think it matters who the Cowboys coach is. They can't win in the postseason.
So,
I mean, who was their coach when Tony Romo was there?
Jason Garrett,
Yeah, and he won 2 games with Tony Romo,
he
two
was a
playoff
mid,
games.
he was a mid coach. He got fired for reasons.
Yeah, but I just don't see the reasoning in firing a coach after he leads your team to the playoffs. Like at least giving you a chance. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're the Panthers or the Falcons, who you just keep losing and losing and losing and never even sniffing the postseason, yeah, get that bum out of there. That brother's going to be delivering my DoorDash real soon. But like, you can't be firing coaches for taking you to the postseason.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I get it.
I
I get
think
it.
so. Who's this? Didn't the Steelers fire their offensive coordinator midseason?
Yeah.
That's the first time they've done that since World War II. Um, and now that they got a better OC in, I think they need to draft a quarterback. Um, I just don't know who's gonna be left on that board. I mean,
Who's gonna be there?
John Matoka, Colorado School of Mines.
Hey, hey, you got a point there.
I could see him, being like a career practice squad guy.
Yeah.
Maybe a
I could
Tyson Bagent type insanity run.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like a third strain comes second strain, guy gets hurt.
He plays for a few games.
Nope. Never see him again.
Yep. 40 years down the line, you'll be, hanging out with your boys. Whatever happened to that Matoka guy?
Yeah,
That's how I see if he makes the league. That's how I see his career panning out.
be awesome.
It'd be cool because I've seen him play in person. Be able to like
Yeah,
watch a guy and be like,
film
yeah,
that guy. I
I got
got
to
I got edits of John.
I got to call that guy unfathomable swear words in person. The obscenities I was able to shout at that man from the distance where I could see his sweat. Pretty dope.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, so I just think there's so many holes in these teams. And I think the Cowboys, maybe they have a curse on them, man, because they just can't win come postseason.
And that's the thing. It's like I don't know if there's needs to be a roster change with Dak at the helm. I mean, he looked a little scared there. Like Jordan Love, first time quarterback in the playoffs, looked way more content in his position than he did Dak.
Well, they did a 157.2 passer rating. Would have been perfect, but when the Cowboys started maybe sneaking back, LaFleur put Love and Dillon and Jones back in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I just think Dak looked unconfident. He looked shaky. Maybe we tossed Trey Lance in there.
Mm-hmm.
49ers, that was still probably the worst draft move of all time. Everything they gave up for Trey Lance just to trade him away for 2 fourth-round picks.
Yeah, it's insanity.
Well, and I think what that also speaks to too is like the difference between Division One FCS and Division One FBS.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably one of the best
Absolutely.
FCS quarterbacks of all time. I mean, you look at him, you look at Carson Wentz. I mean,
Yeah.
closest thing to an FCS quarterback we've seen really have any success was Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, and I
Um,
mean Fitzpatrick's career was
Career journeyman.
journeyman, yes. The
Yeah,
perfect bridge QB.
exactly. I mean, him and then Tyrod Taylor.
Yes, Tyrod, yep.
The careers Tyrod Taylor getting hurt have sparked are nothing short of insane.
And I'm trying to think of some other journeyman QBs like AJ McCown or what's his AJ McCarron? No, I can't think of his name.
Teddy Two
But
Gloves, he is a journeyman.
hmm
Uh,
dude, Teddy Two Gloves was like on fire his first 2 years.
yeah, he had a insanity run.
hmm Then he had that injury, and you know,
Never the
story
same.
goes.
Yeah. But anyhow, my final opinion on that topic is these coaches took you to the playoffs. Let's give them some credit here.
Yeah, I agree.
But Jake, any closing thoughts from you from today's show?
Um, Closing thoughts. I think you go first. I need to think here.
My closing thoughts are I think that If Mahomes can lead this team to the Super Bowl that struggled so bad, I will happily go 180 on all my views on it. I think I've been properly critical, but also, I'm always a big believer of I'd love to be proved wrong when I'm talking bad about a guy.
Hmm.
So he takes his team to the bowl, he wins it, not even MVP. Like so I'll prance around in a dunce cap. Like I will gladly admit I am wrong. Um, I just don't see him being able to lead this team to the playoffs, and I think the Chiefs have a lot of questions to ask come off season about his supporting cast. I mean, Kelce, he's his brother just left, and his brother's only 2 years older than him. Granted, center can be much more physical than tight end. If the tight end, you got to worry about a middle linebacker coming across the field and just cold cocking you. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I think the Chiefs aren't going to make it out of Buffalo this weekend. I also think move the damn Commanders. They have no business in DC anymore.
Not even the same franchise.
No, they're not the
All
same.
right.
They haven't been the same franchise since God, who was it? That not Kirk Cousins, that other like really good white quarterback.
Oh,
What was his name?
I don't know.
You like that?
That's Kirk Cousins.
Was that Kirk? That wasn't Kirk
Yeah.
O'Chains.
Yeah, you like
Was that
that?
really Kirk O'Chains?
Yes.
I didn't know he was shit like that.
Yeah, bro. That's him.
Yeah, they haven't been the same franchise since Perk Thuggins left.
All right. My final thoughts is Jared Goff is a top 10 quarterback, and I hope he can take I hope he can take this team to the bowl, dude. I hope.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, anyhow, I want to thank you guys so much for listening again. Make sure you hit the subscribe button because I'm a YouTube sellout. All right. But anyhow, Twitters are up there. Go ahead and drop us a follow at your soonest convenience. He's Jake Krelovich. I'm Dean Allen. See you, folks.
Peace.